Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing here on this Wednesday morning? Yes, it is Wednesday. I'm not going mad today, am I? I shouldn't be going mad today, but hello, everyone. How you guys all doing? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to Good Morning with Reganelite here. It is Wednesday, the 15th of October, 2025 at 11 a.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. Just a quick reminder, I'll be reminding you guys we are going to go going for an hour, but we're probably going to finish 1 or 2 minutes before 12 o'clock. Why? Well, that's because our good friend Max Robespierre will be doing live Prime Minister's questions at 12 o'clock, guys. So, obviously, as I said, I'm not going to be covering PMQs, but Max is going to be doing so. So, I believe Graham Hughes will also be doing one, but if you want to go from Max's perspective, link for that, it will be in the description. So, what we can do is like literally 5 minutes, whatever, 5 minutes, a couple of minutes before 12, before we finish here, we can jump over and so we can see PMQs along with Max and get his thoughts there. So if you guys want to join me for that, feel free to do so. Why is this not on there? Just so for people know that what we do, we cover today's daily quota. We will look at the local weather, which I have sorted, and we will look at various various news. I'm going to be covering mainly world news, but I've plugged in 1 or 2 UK news websites as well, just for reference here. But let's just see who we got in the chat at the moment here on both chats. At the moment, it is nice and quiet on the Twitch chat at the moment. Stephen Banker, Russell Cannon, good to see you both there. Hope you are doing well. Good morning, June, there as well. Janet, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. Aliston Keir, one of our moderators, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Ellie is also there. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Scott Hayes, good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Mutty Von Eric, good to see you. Hope you are doing well as well. Love and sausages to you too. And I believe that's everyone who's just commented at the moment. So, yes, good to see you all. And anybody else who may be lurking in the chats as well. Some of you guys maybe just do be working in the background. So, let's get started, guys, because, as I said, we've only got less than an hour. Here is today's daily quota. As you know, I don't make these up. It comes from the daily quota calendar. Here it is, today's date, and who said it and where. So, it's another unknown one. And by the way, if you want one for your own, if you would like one for your own, you go to www.littlepennythoughts.com. That's www.littlepennythoughts.com if you want one for your own, just if you're curious. So, if you want to feel rich, just count the things in your life that money can't buy. If you want to feel rich, just count the things in your life that money can't buy. That's a good one. Wish I knew who said that, but we don't know. But that is today's daily quota. And if you want to know tomorrow's daily quota, well, you'll have to tune in tomorrow to find out. Or you can follow me on my social medias or join the Discord community where I post them every day in the morning, normally around 6 o'clock there. And thank you, Aliston Keir, for the £2 super chat just to get the goal started. Can he do Westminster? Just blows my mind and leaves me with a migraine. Well, I'm not covering it personally. I'm not covering PMQs this week. Max is going to be covering it at 12 o'clock. Link for it is in the description later on, guys. Right, so what's happening with the weather, guys? So as you guys know, there was a bit of a trouble with the app. It was playing up for some reason, but not this time. It appears to be working, which is quite interesting. But here it is. This is the map. So this is today's weather at the moment. So I'm just going to scroll it back a little bit here. This is what we have right now. About in the next hour or two or so here, we can see most of Europe here. Madrid 22, Lisbon 24, Rome 22, Palermo 23, Nice 23, Zagreb 16, Budapest 12, Kiev 9, Prague and Vienna 13 respectively, Bern 13, Berlin 14, Warsaw 11, Paris 17. And then we have here, if we go a bit more into the UK here, we got temperatures at currently in the afternoon 13, 14, 11, 12 in some parts here, with not too much wind there, just for reference. Oh, thank you, Peter, for the £5 super chat. Just popping in. Busy morning. Catch you later. Well, thank you for popping in. Hope you have a good day. I've got very busy stuff to do as well, my friend. But I hope your day goes well. Thank you for popping in with that super chat. Really appreciate it. You take care, as always. And if we just scroll a little bit later on, this is obviously for today for reference here. Temperatures, again, Edinburgh be nice and chilly at 9 degrees. And again, no forecast of any rain. It looks like it's going to be for the whole of the day. So if you wanted to, you could get away with putting washing out on the line if you didn't want to put it inside, guys. So yeah, don't worry about any rain that's going to be coming at all. If we go overnight, we can see temperatures overnight are going to be quite chilly. Very, very cold in parts. Manchester 8, Cardiff 9, London 11, Dublin, Belfast 9 there respectively. Overnight into Thursday. As we head into the morning there, we can see a few tiny little scatters of rain down here in the southwest of England, but nothing too big. Nothing really too big. There may be some splatters potentially, but it doesn't look like too much there. But if we look at tomorrow from 1 o'clock here, maximum temperature looks like 15, 13, 12 here. Edinburgh 10 there, 11, 13 there. We'll just have a quick look at some of the other temperatures in other parts just for reference there. We've got some different temperatures there. 13, 12, Fort Williams 11, Inverness 13 there. In Scotland, Oban 11, Bridgend, Stirling 11, 10 respectively. Glasgow 10, I 11, Dumfries 11, 10 there. Now, if we just scroll further down from the south of Scotland into the north of England here, we can see temperatures again 11, 12, 13. Temperatures rising just a little bit as we go a bit further south onto the land. Here's some temperatures. Obviously, most of them are 13 maximum. Some parts are 12. Moving further into the Midlands here, we can see winds again, nothing too problem. It's mainly cloudy. It's mainly dull. Not going to be any rain forecast from the looks of it. There is rain forecast, looks like, for potentially next week, possibly. But right now, it's fine. Jane, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. Person impersonator as well. Good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. And if I didn't say hello to you, Stephen Banker, good morning to you. Temperatures in Wales, 13, 12 here. South of Wales here, 13, 12 in some parts there. So Wales not having too much of a change in temperatures or differences here, but you can see most of the parts there. Here on the other side of England here, a bit more higher at 14, 15 degrees here. Scrolling a bit further down, London 15. Down here on the south coast, south of England here, 15, 14, 15 degrees tomorrow is what it looks like here. And again, 14, 15 degrees in some parts here on southwest England. So nothing really that you should not be already expecting for the weather tomorrow. If we go into Friday here overnight, let's just have a look here. You can see temperatures here. Again, looks like no forecast of rain. Looks like it's going to be happening at all. But temperatures maximum looks like going to be 14 degrees. A little bit of wind, bit of cloud, but nothing that's too much there. Weebud, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Maximum temperatures 12, 11, 10 in parts there. But nothing that you don't already expect. And we'll just have a quick look at Saturday before we move on to the news here. We can see there's this rainstorm that looks like is coming over here. It looks like that's not going to be hitting until Sunday, Monday from the looks of it here. But at the moment, pretty much throughout between now and the rest of the week, guys, it's going to be dry. It's going to be dull. Might be a bit of wind here and there, but nothing too serious there. So that is today's weather report. Right, so before we will look at one or two news websites from the UK, but I wanted to do mainly world news. So let's have a look and see what some websites are saying today. What's happening out there, guys? So I'm starting with NBC News. This is over in America. So they got the front of their headline that Supreme Court weighs whether to gut key provisions of landmark Voting Rights Act. The Conservative majority will hear whether states can ever consider race in during new districts. Isn't that a bit discriminatory to do such a thing? To consider race really in that? I don't really like that. I don't like that personally, especially some of the people behind it. Hamas return 4 more deceased hostages to Israel here. Transfer comes amid accusations that Hamas is violating the peace deal, which states it must release the remaining of all 28 deceased hostages. Yeah, they need to release all of them, or they need to make it clear that they don't have all of them. Be honest about what they have. Indonesia's Mount Lubebre Laki erupts, spewing ash more than 30,000 feet into the sky. We'll see if we can find some video of that somewhere on one of the websites we're looking at today, maybe. Garment factory fire kills 16 workers in Bangladesh. 16 lives lost there. Probably down to health and safety there, most likely more than anything there. The sleeper issue that could play a huge role in Virginia and New Jersey and the midterms there. They've got an exclusive here that concerns over lethal strikes on alleged Venezuelan drug boats grows in Congress. So Republicans and Democrats say the administration is not sharing information about the intelligence and the goals of this war on drug trafficking. So I did cover literally this morning on Patreon, that will be coming out in a few days, a piece on the drug trafficking and shared my thoughts on it. But I'll share some of it here with you guys. I don't see too much changing here. I generally think that it's so deeply the tangle is so entangled. Like, it's not just a case of, oh, if we stop the boats, if we stop the boats here in the Caribbean, the drugs will stop coming in. No, they're going to fly. They're going to overfly. What are you going to do then? Oh, we'll make it more difficult, for them when they're coming through the airport. Well, they're not going to come directly via airport. Like, some of the ways that they get narcotics into the US is what they do is one of the ideas is what they do is they fly to like one of the Caribbean islands and literally just drop it in the ocean for commercial boats to pick up, and then they can just drive from basically row from there. So avoiding basically this blockage that they have around Venezuela. Like, so there's lots of ways that they can get drugs in. It's it's I don't want to say it's easy, but it's like you can't completely stop this. And the only way to stop it really is from the sources. And the sources are from Colombia, from Venezuela, parts of Mexico. And unless you're prepared to go in with force, which you're not, which would be against breach of international law here, you're not going to stop the drugs coming in. So anytime that Donald Trump talks about cracking down on drugs and whatnot, I do think it's more rhetoric, just to kind of pound his chest to make him sound like a tough guy, if I'm honest. Chicago teachers say immigration enforcement is traumatizing the community. Patrolling ICE officers and in one case nearby, tear gas prompted some staff to escort families to and from school. Yeah, because they're targeting children, aren't they, as well? That's absolutely horrible. Good morning, Jenny. Hope you are doing well there. Ellie, good to see you there if I didn't say hello there. What happened with the eggs from Tesco's? Past 2 weeks they've been proper grim. Yolk is pale and bland. Eggs are smaller, says Trip. Probably. They probably are. What else have they got here? Drivers following too close behind van charged at crash and that killed 3 adults, 5 kids, officials have said. China and US rollout for tit-for-tat port fees, threatening more turmoil at sea. 1 dead, 2 injured after a pickup explodes on a busy street in Ecuador. Explosives there. Changing gorilla named Denny breaks the glass barrier at San Diego's zoo enclosure. How did that happen? A gorilla at San Diego Zoo broke a glass panel at his enclosure over the weekend, zoo officials said this week, frightening guests who were observing the apes. The 10-year-old Denny broke one of 3 layers of protected glass at the zoo's Lost Forest gorilla habitat on Saturday, the zoo said in an updated statement Tuesday. It is common for male gorillas, especially in the arrow scenes, to express these type of behaviors, they said. Bursts of energy, charging, dragging items, and running sideways are all natural for a young male. The zoo said the breach panels was composed of 3 layers of tempered glass. No injuries were reported, including for the western Logan gorilla. The zoo said in an early statement that Denny and another gorilla will be careful behind the scenes until the panel is replaced. Report is that the panel was boarded up on Monday and public viewing was closed. Zoo officials did not respond to a question about when gorilla viewing might reopen. In August, the zoo said that Denny's older brother, 30-year-old Maka, had died after a cardiac arrest. Oh, it's terrible. According to the station upon its birthday in 2017. The zoo said Denny was named for philanthropist Denny Salford, who funded the San Diego Zoo kids television channel. I generally wondered how. I'm generally curious to know how it broke, like 3 glass panels. Like I'm generally curious how that happened. That generally got me curious. Obviously, they don't have footage of it. Well, they probably do have footage, but they're not sharing it with the public. Would be nice if they did. Because you'd have cameras everywhere in the zoo, wouldn't you? Any other stories here from NBC News? Jack Smith speaks out about against the Trump administration in a rare interview. Trump's post-Humanity awards Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Okay. For Medal of Freedom for speaking out. Okay. For just talking. 5 major broadcast networks said they won't sign a new Pentagon media policy. There. In Texas, details about its execution drug underscore a closely guarded secret there. Video appears to show a woman in Whittier forcibly taken by a man outside a home. Absolutely terrible. So that's some of the stories there from NBC News. Let's have a quickie of what's happening in the UK. Might just switch back and forth between UK and world news going forward, rather than just sticking one or the other. But so obviously we've got Prime Minister's questions at 12 o'clock. Max Robespierre will be covering that live. So if you link for that is in the description, guys. So when my show ends, will end before PMQ starts. So you can join Max later on if you want to there. Government under pressure to release China spy case evidence. But will they? That's a good question. Recognizing Palestine state help get ceasefire, Prime Minister says. Did it? Did recognizing a Palestine state help contribute to the ceasefire? I don't know. I feel like it's more the US were pressured into it. I generally think that what happened in Qatar kind of played more into it rather than this. But I mean, it just feels like he's trying to take a positive there. But European rights body urges UK ministers to review protest laws. Yeah, they need to review that about the Palestine action. We've spoken about that before, guys. Government approves UK's largest solar farm. Very good news in Lincolnshire. Yeah. And by the way, I said this already for those who don't know. Lincolnshire, Richard Tice obviously did a promotion video promoting Lincolnshire's oil because they have oil. They have an oil industry there. It's not that big, but it's like not even in the top 10 or even top 20, like in terms of economy booming economy for Lincolnshire. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, anyone losing jobs is terrible, but this is obviously a good step for them. Miliband defends clean power goal after energy bills rise. Yeah, the bills, they need to freeze the bills, man. They need to freeze the bills. We need increasing wages and our bills to be frozen. I mean, obviously, reduction of bills would sound better, but yeah. Are you streaming? Hi, DJ Marty Moo. Are you streaming the PMQs today? I am not streaming PMQs today. The reason being is because Max Robespierre's, well, two reasons. I just don't. I don't think. I'm not sure if I'll be doing it going forward. I'm especially like it's already enough that Graham Hughes is covering it, but Max Robespierre is going to be covering it. I don't know if he's going to be doing it regularly, but if he is going to be doing it regularly, I'm not going to do PMQs because then if too many YouTubers will be covering it. I may get some clips from it and talk about some of the clips and highlights from it tonight on tonight's live stream at 8 o'clock for the watch along show. But that's about it. Man in jail for 5 years for Farage death threat. Yeah, we've heard about that story. Minister uphold women banned from a Muslim run. A lot of these stories are stories that we've already heard about as well because we looked at BBC yesterday here. So anything else to add here? Let's just have a look at the front of UK here. Vets should be made to publish prices, Watchdog says. Red Tractor ad banned for misleading environmental claims. What did they say in their ad? A TV advertised by Red Tractor, the UK's biggest certifier of farm products on supermarket shelves, has been banned for exaggerating the scheme's environmental benefits and misleading the public. It ruled the organisation had provided insufficient evidence that its farms complied with basic environmental laws to substantiate claims in its ad. Environmental group River Action, which brought the complaint in 2023, said its ruling showed the scheme was greenwashing and urged supermarkets to stop using it. Red Tractor called the watchdog's decision fundamentally flawed and argued that the scheme's focus was animal welfare, not environmental standards. In 2021, Red Tractor aired an advert in which it said, "From field to store, all our standards are met. When the Red Tractor's there, your food farm with care. You can watch it below." No, I'm not going to watch it, thank you. The environment charity River Action took issue with the ad, which ran for a further 2 years, and complained to the watchdog that it suggested to consumers that Red Tractor's farms will ensure a high degree of environmental protection. Yeah, I don't like that. Should not be. I don't like that. That's very annoying. Royal Mail fined £21 million after post arriving late, according to Ofcom. This is what happens when you leave it in the hands of private companies. Bring it back into state controlled here. Royal Mail has been fined £21 million after almost a quarter of first-class posts arrived late, Ofcom has announced. It's the third largest fine the community watchdog has ever issued following its investigation after Royal Mail missed its targets for both first and second class posts in 2024-2025. Director of Enforcement Ofcom said millions of important letters are arriving late. People aren't getting what they pay for when they buy a stamp. Royal Mail said it will continue to work hard to deliver further sustained improvements to our quality service, while at the same time they're cutting back as well, because that's what its owner is doing. It delivers 77% of first-class mails and 92.5% of second-class mails on time in the 2024-2025 financial year, which was short of its 93% and 98.5% targets. This is the third time it has been fined over delivery delays in recent years, with penalties of £5.6 million in November 2023 and £10.5 million in December 2024. Ofcom said the fines would have been £30 million, but it had reduced it to 30% to reflect Royal Mail's admissions of its failings. No, you should have just given it the full fine, really. The regulator warns fines likely to continue unless the company urgently delivers a credible improvement plan. Sounds like to me that Royal Mail may end up building up a massive debt of fines here. That's what it sounds like to me. Are they actually paying these fines? It's not the company really itself, it's the owner who I'm angry with. I'm more angry with the owners. Very frustrating. And we're getting closer to Christmas as well, and that's going to be a really important time for people. Right, going back into the world. Let's have a look and see what's happening in the world news. This is from Euronews here. NATO is seeking more arms for Ukraine as Western military support fades here. This story is from Belgium. Let's have a quick nose. No thank you. Go away ads. A recent series of mysterious drone incursions and airspace violations by Russian warplanes have fueled concerns that President Vladimir Putin might be testing NATO's defensive reflexes. I actually, like, a part of me generally thinks that the drone sightings that have been popping up on Russian borders with NATO and European countries is kind of just him, it's kind of them just looking at what's going on, really. I really do think it's just a case of that. NATO defense ministers will meet later today to try and drum up more military support for Ukraine amid a sharp drop in deliveries of weapons and ammunition in recent months in the war-torn country still fighting off Ukraine's full-scale invasion. The ministers will also debate a call from NATO's chief to lift restrictions on the use of the aircraft and other equipment so they can be used to defend the alliance's eastern border with Russia, Belarus and Ukraine more effectively. A recent series of mysterious drone incursions and airspace violations by Russia's warplanes have fueled concerns that President Vladimir Putin might be testing NATO's defensive reflexes. Some leaders have also accused him of waging a hybrid war in Europe, but Moscow has denied this. Russia's conventional war on its neighbours now focus on Ukraine's power go ahead. Moscow's annual campaign aimed at disabling Ukraine's power supply, denying civilian heat and running water as temperatures continue to drop. And at the same time, new data on Western military aid to Ukraine is showing that it plunged by 43% in July and August compared with the first half of the year, according to Germany's Kiel Institute, which tracks defense and financial support to Kiev. The fall occurred even after European allies began buying American weapons for Ukraine under a new financial arrangement known as the Prioritized Ukraine Requirement List. That's the PURL. The US does not donate any equipment to Ukraine, either through the scheme or bilateral, but 6 countries already contributed $2 billion to the funding, the Ukraine president said at the end of September. Denmark, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden have been buying US weapons to send to Ukraine, but Italy and Spain, among other members of the 32-nation alliance, are sending very little compared to these NATO partners. Yeah, it always seems to be Spain are kind of just like sitting back more than anyone. It says time and again that countries are lagging behind about what they should do. A senior NATO diplomat said ahead of the meeting. If Ukraine falls, he said, defense expenditure will be much higher than 5% gross domestic product. NATO has currently ambitious spending targets. Yeah, other nations need to spend more. Definitely need to spend more there. Thank you for the £2 super chat, Alston Keir. To get there is what it says. Thank you, my friend. I know where you're going with that. Thank you for that £2 super chat. Appreciate it. Germany's ruling coalition fails to agree on military service proposal. Dutch far-right MP Widers resumes campaign after alleged terror plot. Sweden upgrades wartime shellers amid rising tensions with Russia. Pro-Palestinian protesters clash with police before Israel and Italy match. Israel needs to be banned from football. FIFA won't do it. US Senate rejects bill to end the government shutdown now in its 3rd week. Hamas returns a body of 4 more hostages. We saw that already. NATO Chief Mark Rutte mocks Russia over a limping submarine. We should look at this again, guys. We've already seen it, but here it is, guys. But let's remind ourselves of and point and laugh at the Russian submarine that stranded itself in the English Channel. Ha 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 ha. We gotta laugh at it, guys. You know, gotta take the moment to point and laugh at them, because you know, we need to make the most of it. We need to make some laughter anyway. To be fair. Thank you, Alison Keir, for another £2 super chat. Goal done. How the DPR? How? Oh, you just not cashed on me over. How? Yes. Pingu says thank you for your support, Alison Keir, and everyone for your contributions. Pingu just wanted to make that very clear. By the way, he's not the president of McDonald's Island or Antarctica. He's basically like foreign minister. He has very close ties to Putin and other world leaders. He was at the last Briggs conference, in case people are interested as well. He still won't tell me what the things he discussed with Putin, which is really rude of him. Yeah, you heard me. Right. It's happening in Al Jazeera here, guys. Kenyan opposition leader Ragid Odunia dies of a heart attack in India at aged 80. That's absolutely terrible. Heart attack at that age. Fist fights at gas station. Ukraine targets Russian energy infrastructure. We kind of knew that already. New normal is Pakistan trying to set new red lines with Afghan Taliban there. Palestinians say no change in lives unless Israel allows unrestricted aid. Yep, this is 100% true. I'll go to the live feed in a moment, guys. Dozens killed, injured in new Pakistan-Afghanistan border clash. Is this another one from a new one? Or is this the continuing one from yesterday? No, this is another one. Clashes between Pakistan and Afghan forces have killed more than a dozen wounded in a remote border area as hostilities deepen between two former allies. Yeah, this is another attack between the two sides. Both sides accuse each other, triggering the deadly violence overnight on Tuesday. That spans southeastern Afghanistan's Spin border district and Pakistan's Charman district. Afghan spokesperson accused Pakistani forces of intimidating their border fighting by firing light and heavy weapons at Afghanistan, killing 12 civilians, injuring more than 100. Ali Mohammed, a press spokesperson for the Spin Bodrick district, put the civilian death toll at 15. The AFP news agency quoted the district hospital official as saying 80 women and children are among the wounded. He claimed Afghan forces returned fire, killing a large number of Pakistani soldiers, seizing Pakistani weapons and tanks and destroying their military installations. But their authorities blamed the Afghan Taliban for first firing on the Pakistani military post and other areas near the border, causing the clashes that also wounded 4 of its own citizens. The Reuters news agency quoted unnamed security officials as saying Pakistani soldiers were killed in the violence, of which one official lasted around 5 hours. Khan, a resident of Pakistan's Charman district, said clashes forced some people living near the border to flee. He said people are in a very difficult situation. Shells are falling in people's homes, he said. In a statement, Pakistan's army said its forces had effectively repulsed the attacks from Afghan's Taliban, killing from 15 to 20 of their members and injuring others. It also said it repelled separate Afghan Taliban attacks early in the night in Kurram district further north. The inspirations of these attacks were initiated by Pakistan are outrageous and blatant lies, just like the claims of capturing Pakistani postal equipment, said the military statement. The armed forces stand resolved and fully prepared to defend the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Pakistan. This is the second time this has happened. Second night now. Second day in a row, shall we say. International bodies should be stepping in there to try and calm tensions as soon as possible. People are dying on those borders there. Innocent people have died. Children wounded. It's absolutely terrible. President Zelensky removes Ukrainian citizenship of Oslo city's mayor. He is alleged to have Russian citizenship, which is prohibited in Ukraine. He has stripped the mayor of Ossia, Generally Trovkov, of Ukrainian citizenship over allegations that he possesses a Russian passport. The Ukrainian leader has instead appointed a military administration to run the country's biggest port city on the Black Sea, which is a population of about 1 million. The SBU accused the mayor of possessing a valid international passport from the aggressor country. Ukraine prohibits its citizens from also holding citizenship in Russia, which launched a full-scale invasion in the move against Trukov could see him deported from the country. Why has he got Russian citizenship? Had a security meeting on the security in some of our regions. These are matters. The principal head of security going forward on countries' intelligence and collaborating in frontline border regions as well as the south. confirmed that fact certain individuals holding Russian citizenship relevant decisions regardless of whether they've been prepared or signed the decree, Zelensky said. What? Why? Like, did the thing is like my question is like, what about if they had them before the war? Like, if they picked them up during the war, okay, maybe that definitely raises alarm bells. But before the war, no worries, Steven Banker. Thanks for popping in. Much appreciate it. Will Trump stop this war? I wonder. Well, on Friday he's going to be meeting with Zelensky. We'll see what happens on Friday between them. I'm very curious to see how that goes. Far right US influencer Candace Owens loses legal fight to enter Australia. Oh well, what a terrible shame. What a terrible shame. We're not going to waste our time. Trump hints US aid to Argentina on election. The US president said a 20 billion currency swap with Argentina depending on the success of Java Mendes' coalition in the midterm race. He's pledged to boost Argentina's economy with a 20 billion currency swap, but only if the South American country's right-wing president prevails in the upcoming elections. That president, the self-described anti-capitalist Java Mendes, was in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday for his latest visit to the White House. We think he's going to win. He should win, and if he does win, it's going to be very helpful, Trump said. If he doesn't win, we're not going to waste our time because you have somebody, whole philosophy that has no chance of making Argentina great again. Argentina is not great again. Argentina is not doing very well. You only need to ask the people on the ground there. Since taking office in December 2023, Mendes has made at least a dozen trips to the US, including to attend Trump's second inauguration. The two leaders shared a long public bond. Mendes' latest meeting with Trump comes in his political coalition, La Libertad Fresca, that's Freedom Advances, faces a series of hurdles heading into Argentina's midterm elections on October the 26th. That's not too far away now. Trump appeared eager to help Mendes overcome his dropping poll numbers on Tuesday as he hosted the Argentina leader at the White House cabinet room. He explained to reports that the economic safety net that the US was giving to Argentina was his way of helping the great philosophy take over a great country. You're going to win the election, Trump, my baby. We're going to endorse you. I'm going to endorse you today. Fully endorse you. The people of Argentina like me. A lot of people like me. And he says, yeah, this is definitely perfectly democratic, yeah, for another political leader to put their hat, who has no right to, no say whatsoever on what goes on in Argentina elections, to say, yep, we are backing this guy, we're backing him, whatsoever, screw the opposition leaders and opposition parties here. This is perfectly democratic to do so. Obviously, you haven't got it. I'm being sarcastic. Trump proceeded to post about Mendes on his Truth Social platform, pledging to support his work during the upcoming midterms. I don't know how well it's going to help him, but yeah, it should not be endorsing anything like that. Trump threatens to cut Democratic programs, extends to funding to the military there. Let's have a quick look at the live feed here before we switch gears to another page. So what's the latest here? This is 2 minutes ago. Former Israeli captives in Gaza said there was less food after Israeli restrictions in March, according to a report. Noreen Connors was one of the 20 captives released on Monday by Hamas as a result of the ongoing yet fragile ceasefire agreement. Said there's a manner of speech and the manner of speech is down. Boy, mine. Palestinian authorities said it's ready to reopen Rafah crossing. The Palestinian authorities said it's prepared to operate the key crossing for aid between Egypt and Gaza. Now we're ready to engage again. We've notified all parties that we are ready to operate the Rafah crossing, he said. Israeli forces arrest 15 people northeast of Rafah. This is 33 minutes ago. Israeli forces have arrested 15 people in the town in Iska, northeast of Rafah in southern Gaza, correspondents on the ground reports. This comes 2 days after Israel released 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, the majority of whom were arrested in Gaza. Looks like it's an analysis piece. Yeah, the border is still currently shut. Gaza's government media office calls for Israel to open all crossings. Full body return to Hamas does not match captives held, says Israel. The Israeli army said the fourth body handed over by Hamas has not been matched to any of the captives following the completion of an examination at the National Institute of Forensic Medicine. Hamas is required to make all necessary efforts to return the deceased hostages, the army said in a statement on Telegram. Earlier, the army announced that 3 of the 4 bodies that were handed back had been identified and their relatives were notified. So they're saying Hamas duped the bodies is what they're claiming. Are we really going to take anything that Israel says seriously? And we know that they've limited it to 300 trucks. Yeah, we read saw that yesterday. Israel's Gaza beach to reopen tomorrow after being closed since the beginning of the Gaza war. Israel tanks open fire in southern Gaza. This was 2 hours ago. Colleagues at Al Jazeera are reporting Israel tanks fired at Palestinians in the town of Sharabiga and Shirin Nesigan neighborhood east of Khan Yunis. Why? What was the reason? Again, like, where is the accountability? This is not a ceasefire here. Gunfire, tanks opening fire. This is not a ceasefire. Where's the international outrage? Oh, they're all deaf ears because they all think it's all Humpty-Dory, whole Humpty perfect. How many lives have been lost? Every day, still people are dying. Every day. Okay, it's less now, but still. Let's have a look at African news here, see what they're saying. Cabaret Libre vows to end 43 years of rule and built a new Cameron in an interview. Cameron minister dismisses opposition victory claim as electoral disruption. Cameron's Minister of Territorial Administration has rejected opposition candidates' claim of victory and accused him of trying to disrupt the electoral process. There's one last week. High treason. By claiming victory early Tuesday presidential election, urging President Bullseye has been in power 4 years to concede. He's been in power since 1982, nearly half his lifetime, making him Cameron's second president since independence. According to the Cameroon Electoral Code, the results of the election will be playing guided Constitutional Council within no more than 15 days of the close of the poll. So they still have announced the result of it. I have a sneaky suspicion it's gonna be rigged against it's gonna be rigged in his favour. The old man. More than half his life he's served as Cameroon president since the 1980s. Absolutely insane, guys. US Ghana deportation deal faces lawsuit after new arrivals. Yeah, I saw this piece, guys. So a group of 14 people have become the latest West Africans deported from the US to Ghana under an accord between the countries, said a lawyer whose group filed a lawsuit on Tuesday seeking to block the arrangement. Olivia, who represents the migrants, said the latest groups of 14 West African nationals arrived on Monday to bring the overall total to 42 deportees accepted by the Ghanaian government. How much money do you think the Trump administration gave Ghana to take them in as well? That's a good question. Maybe the body was too badly to identify, sadly. It's possible, but what's also that's possible. But what's also possible is that Israel could use it as an excuse to claim that Hamas are not doing everything that they were agreed to in the deal as well. Remember, they're looking for Hamas. Israel are looking for any reasons to break the ceasefire. They're looking for any and all reasons to break the ceasefire. His group, Democracy Hub, filed a lawsuit on Tuesday against Ghana's government, alleging that the agreement with Washington is unconstitutional because the Ghanaian parliament didn't approve it, and it may violate conventions that forbid sending people to countries where they could face prosecution. It's unconstitutional. So the Ghanaian parliament didn't even approve it. So the government approved it, the parliament didn't. Government spokesperson said the Attorney General would defend the arrangement in the court, but otherwise declined to comment. The administration of US President Donald Trump has been cracking down on migrants, yet we know about that. Dozens of deportees have been sent to Africa since July, after the Trump administration struck largely secretive agreements with at least 5 African nations to take migrants under a new third country deportation program. Rights groups have protested the program, saying it is opaque and send deportees to countries where they have no ties and where they are likely to be denied due process. In some cases, migrants have been deported to third countries where their home countries would have accepted them, critics say. Last month, the US deported an initial group of 14 West African immigrants to Gaza, where authorities later said all the deportees had been sent to their home countries elsewhere in West Africa, including Togo, Nigeria, and Mali. However, the lawyers told the Associated Press on September that 11 of them were still being held at a military camp in the outskirts of the capital, in what they describe as terrible conditions. Since then, 10 of those migrants have been deported to Togo, even though only 2 are Togolese. The US says the first group of deportees to Eswatini in July, saying they've been convicted of serious crimes, including murder, child rape. They make this claim. They claim that every single person they're convicting are murderers, criminals, rapists, and whatnot. They have no evidence whatsoever. A lot of them they just don't have evidence for. Since then, US has deployed other migrants to South Sudan, Rwanda, and Ghana. It also has an agreement with Uganda, although no deportees have been announced. 6 deportees have been they've been detained in an unspecified facility in South Sudan, while Rwanda said it hasn't said where it is holding 7 deportees. So they're literally the Trump administration is throwing money at, like, let's just be clear about this. The Trump administration is throwing money at these African countries. And remember, a lot of these African countries are not very wealthy. And when they're offered a lot of money, they're going to turn a blind eye to even their own laws just to take that money in. So believe me when I tell you, there is money being handed here from the US government to these nations to take these refugees in, even though they have no connections whatsoever to where they're to that country. It's absolutely shameful. It's just so shameful of the US government to do this. It really, really is. I really do feel sorry for these people. Like, for them to be shipped to a country that they have no ties to whatsoever, and they see it as, oh, they're all the same color, or they're all African, so we'll just send them to whatever country or whatnot. Like, that's their mindset. It's just like, oh, who cares? You know, just send them to that country, and they can, you know, just send them there, get rid of them. That's their mindset. That's their mindset. Not realizing that the continent actually has multiple different countries that a lot of people, different ones, come from. Pope Leo urges Italy to remain open to migrants. That's going to be hard to talk them into that. Instagram is to restrict teens to PG-13 content by default. Very interesting. Teens on Instagram will be limited to viewing PG-13 rating content by default and will not be able to change their settings without parental permission, Meta announced on Tuesday. This means that children using teen-specific accounts will see photos and videos on Instagram similar to those that we see in a PG-rated movie, meaning no sex, drugs, and dangerous stunts, among other things. Quotation, this includes hiding or not recommending posts containing strong language, certain risky stunts, and additional content that may encourage potentially dangerous behavior, such as posts showing marijuana mafia, Meta said in a blog on Tuesday, calling the update the most significant since the introduction of teens accounts last year. I hope that doesn't include wrestling. I'm just throwing that out there for my Instagram page. Company also added an even stricter setting that parents can configure for their children. These changes come as social media giant faces continued criticism over its danger to children. As part of its efforts to strengthen protections for teens, Meta has already promised not to show them inappropriate content such as posts of self-harm, eating disorder, or suicide, of course. But it doesn't always work. A recent report, for example, found that teen accounts created by researchers were being recommended age-inappropriate sexual content, including explicit sexual descriptions, the use of cartoons to depict gradual sexual acts, and brief scenes of nudity. Meta says the new restrictions go further than its previous safeguards. Teens will no longer be able to follow accounts that regularly share age-inappropriate content or whose names or bios contain material inappropriate for teens, such as links to an OnlyFans account. That's definitely a good idea. A lot of Instagram pages, they put their OnlyFans, accounts, especially women models and whatnot. They post loads of pictures and videos and whatnot, and then they put their link to their OnlyFans, encourage them to go there. That's one way of stopping that. That's a good idea to basically block them from seeing that. If teens are already following these accounts, they will no longer be able to view or interact with their content, send them messages, or see their comments under anyone's post, the company said. These accounts also won't be able to follow teens, send them private messages, or comment on their posts. I actually like that. I think it's a good idea. Meta said it's already blocked certain search items related to sensitive topics such as suicide and eating disorder. The latest update will extend its measures to a wider range of terms such as alcohol or gore, even if they are misspelled. The PG-13 update will also apply to chats and AI experiences aimed at teens, Meta said, meaning houses shouldn't give age-inappropriate responses that would be out of place in a PG-13 rating movie. For parents who want stricter controls for their children, Meta is also launching a limited content restriction that will block more content and previous teens from viewing, leaving, or receiving comments on the post. So yeah, it's got some good ideas that I like, and there's some I'm not so keen on there. Let's switch gears, guys. We've got about, like I said, I want to finish before 12 o'clock if we can. Reminder that Max Robespierre will be covering PMQs at 12 o'clock, so I will not be covering PMQs this week for you guys. Joe, good to see you there. Thanks for popping in. Much appreciated. Hope you are doing well there. Does anyone know if they are, Billy Cushio's asking, does anyone know if they are still pushing through the capital punishment bill in Israel? I don't know, actually. 1 second. What's the latest? Put it under news. The last story on this was 2 weeks. Oh no, that's Iran. I don't want Iran. I want Israel. Thank you. 2 weeks ago, Israel's death penalty bill endangers hostages and undermines justice. This is 2 weeks ago. Israel's National Security Committee pushes forward a controversial bill mandating death sentences for terrorists, despite legal advisors deeming the vote unlawful and warning it could endanger hostages' lives. I don't have any. That's from the Kissinik. Oh no, Hazres media outlet, but it's behind a paywall, so I can't show the rest of it. That's the only story it appears I can find on that there. So apologies, Billy. But that's all I can show you, I'm afraid, on that one there. Let's have a look at what Sky News is saying. Starmer face PMQs. It reads, hints at budget tax rises. We'll see how Keir Starmer does today. I'm very curious to see how he does. We don't have control of our borders, admits the Home Secretary. This kind of language is not helping. Like, here's the thing. This language, right, even if they don't have control of the borders, this does not help them. This does not help them in any way, shape, or forms. Like, literally, if you said this in a video clip, in an interview, do you know what Reform are going to do? They're going to clip that and they're going to post that all over social media. Here's Labour saying they don't have control of the borders. Just like the Conservatives, they don't have control of the borders. They're literally going to clip this and put this all over social media, furthering more people away from Labour to Reform. You should not be saying this. You should not be saying this. This does not help Labour's position, and this only emboldens Reform once again. You should not be saying this publicly. Dodge the question. Don't actually come out and say it. Stupid. Absolute stupid from them. All they're doing is emboldening Reform there. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Deadline a day for firms linked to Tory peer to pay back millions over COVID contract scandal. I don't know if it was her idea to say that or if advisors around her, but whoever said it is an absolute dumbass who told her to say that, because she should not have said that. Is that it? Is that all you've got? Tax rises. Yeah, we already know about that. Anything else? Social media star Big John Fisher will be deported after being detained in Australia. Is that the right-wing influencer they were talking about? I saw on another piece. I'm assuming that's the same person. The spectacular winners at the Wildlife Photographer of the Year. This is very important news, guys. We have to look at this. We have to look at some of these. These are very important. The Wildlife Photographer of the Year 2025 have been revealed, along with the winners and the competition's other categories. South African photographer Wim de van der Haan takes the main prize for He Shot. This is what won it. Wow. This is it. Wow, look at that. That is beautiful. Look at this shot. That is incredible. So in the night as well. So what? That is quite incredible. What a shot. Ghost Town visitor shows a brown hyena visiting the skeletal remains of a long-abandoned diamond mine in a mining town in Namibia. It took Mr. Van Halen a decade to get the single shot of the world's rarest hyena, which are nocturnal and mainly solitary. He used his camera's trap technology for the image, according to the National History Museum, London, which develops and produces wildlife photography of the year. How fitting that this photograph was made in a ghost town. Yeah, you get a prickly feeling that just looking at this, you know that you're in this hyena's realm. Wow, I've never seen a hyena like that. I don't think I've ever seen a hyena like that. That is pretty incredible, guys. Let's have a look at some of the other pictures. Oh, that's a nice one. No, even if you're not a fan of bugs. Oh, that's an interesting one. Antelope there. Shane Gross there. Another one. I'm not sure what we're supposed to see here. Apparently this is one. What are we supposed to, I can't tell what we're supposed to be seeing with that one. Shadow Hunter by Italian Philip Eger shows the orange glit of an eagle's owl's eyes in the evening light faded falling on its feathers. I can't quite see that. Oh no, wait, there's the eye. I can see the orange eye. Okay. It took me a while to see it. I don't know if you guys can see the eye there in that image. My missus does not like frogs. Froggling frogs here. That's very nice. That's a very beautiful picture. I like this one. This one looks really, really nice here. Wow. The timing of this. That's pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible. Wow, what is this one? It's called Mad Caterpillar. Showcases a strange headgear of the glum-faced Skeletor caterpillar. This is very important news, by the way, guys. This is actually very important news, just for reference. Cat among the flamingos there. Oh wow, that's nasty. It's a great shot of the catcher. Wow, it's a great one of all the birds there. Incredible. Ooh, what is this one? We'll leave it at this, guys, and then we'll come to some of the news. Simulon shows an orb-weaving spider on its web on a pedestrian bridge, silhouette by lights and cars, are showing it the Isbelen in Germany. Wow, that's incredible. That is pretty incredible. That was definitely worth looking at, guys. That was definitely worth looking at. Any other stories that's worth from Sky News? Probably not there. That was definitely worth looking at. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at those photos because I found them very fascinating. Two eyes is looking to its right. I couldn't see the other eye. I can only see one eye, but maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Someone got their breakfast. Yep. Or dinner. They are some fabulous pictures. I really do admire photographers. I really, really do. I've had people tell me I should take up professional photography as well, but I wouldn't know where to start. I mean, I need to get a proper camera as well, and they're not cheap. They are not cheap. We're talking like a couple of £100 as well. Anyways, we got about. I want us to do no more than 5 minutes. So in about 5 minutes we will stop, guys, because Max Robespierre will be going live at 12 o'clock for Prime Minister's questions. Because I do want to stop before then, just for reference. So let's have a look what they're saying here. We talked about that already. Zelensky transfers Ossiomera powers. 16 fuel tanks damaged. Russia's oil terminal in occupied Crimea is still burning, Ukraine's general staff has said. That's good. Russia charges Krotsky, 22 anti-war activists with terrorism attempted coup. According to the FSB, the Russian anti-war committee's goal is the violent seizure of power and the changes of the constitutional order. US Treasury Secretary meets Ukraine's Prime Minister, pledging stronger pressure on Russia. That today looks like that's happening. It looks like it's happening today. Syria's al-Sharia to meet Putin in his first Russia visit. Al-Sharia Putin expected to discuss regional and internal developments as well as ways to deepening bilateral cooperation, according to the SNAA. Trump says Putin should do something to end the war in Ukraine. I've actually got a short video on that, so we're not going to open that up. Belarus detains at least 88 people over alleged ties to the military monitoring group, Rights Watchdog says. The military monitoring group, Belarusian Huskan, was an open-source intelligence project that tracked Russian and Belarusian troop movements and other military activities in Belarus. Zelensky stripped scandalous ballet dancer Sergei Lovkin, a devoted Putin fan, of Ukrainian citizenship. Previously worked with the Royal Ballet in London and later the director of Sevastopol Opera and Ballet Theatre in Russian-occupied Crimea from December 19 until summer 2024. Well, if you're a devoted Putin fan, is that really justified to take away their citizenship? I don't know enough about the story to say so, if that's right or wrong. Russia's largest oil terminal, occupied Crimea, is still on fire, which you just saw that already. US expects big NATO spending pledges for Ukraine's weapon purchases, an envoy says. IMF keeps Ukraine growth forecast unchanged despite mounting attacks on the energy. IMF has forecast 2% growth in 2025 and 4.5% in 2026, unaltered from its April 2025 projections there. New book exposes Russia's equalize as a war against Ukraine's land and memory there. So those are some of the news feeds there. Trump's 2 wars. Why diplomacy worked in Gaza but not in Ukraine? Because Putin doesn't want to move his position. Any other stories just on the exclusive sides here that's worth looking at? Not really, that we haven't already seen. We'll leave that for now. Let's have a quick look at CNA, guys, over in Asia. This is Central News Asia, just for reference. Malaysia expands use of QR code clearance at Jodor land checkpoints and motorcycles pedestrian lanes. Indonesia's oil tanker catches fire in Bahrain, killing 10 people, local police say there. South Korea bars travel to parts of Cambodia amid concerns over scam centres and reported kidnappings. That's very frightening indeed. The US charges Cambodian executive in a massive crypto scam, seizes more than $14 billion in Bitcoin. $14 billion. The United States government seized more than $14 billion in Bitcoin and charged the foundation of Cambodian conglomerate in a massive cryptocurrency scam, accusing him, an unnamed co-conspirator, of exploiting forced labor to dupe would-be investors and using the proceeds to purchase yachts, jets, and Picasso paintings. In an indictment unsealed on Tuesday, Brooklyn federal prosecutors charged Prince Holding Group chairman Chen Zhang with wire fraud conspiracy and money laundering conspiracy. At the same time, US and British authorities imposed sanctions on Chen's company, which is involved in real estate development and financial services. And the Treasury Department declared it a transnational crime organization. Wow. Chen is accused of sanctioning violence against workers and authorities, bribes to foreign officials, and using other businesses such as online gambling and cryptocurrency mining to launder it in net profits. 14 billion. That's a massive scam. That's terrible. Military steward chief admits elections won't be nationwide as the war continues. There's no point doing an election in the war. There's no point. There is no point. Why are you doing an election? And you're going to rig it in your favour anyway. We're not stupid. You overthrew the democratically elected government. Fucking hate that. Any other interesting stories? Trump semiconductor tariff threat casts long shadow on penny chips hot status. I think we will leave it there, guys, just because of time. So in about 3 minutes' time, Prime Minister's Questions is going to start. If you guys want to either head over to Graham Hughes on Politics Social, where he'll cover, or from Max Robespierre, or anywhere else for PMQs, that'll be starting soon. As I said, the links for Max's live stream is in the description if you want to hop over there as we go out. But just a quick reminder before you guys go, I'll be going live tonight at 8 p.m. I might cover 1 or 2 things from Prime Minister's Questions, as well as some other news that's been happening in and around the world. We do watch and react to certain videos and clips online is what tonight's live stream is all about. So if you guys want to join me for that, feel free to do so. But I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come along. Thank you to everyone who left super chats. Peter, who gave £5 super chat. Alston Kier, who gave £2 super chats and helping me reach today's super chat goal. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys all for coming along and chatting in the comments or even lurking. Really greatly appreciated. And I'll be back again once again tomorrow for another Good Morning show. And also, finally, just a quick reminder as well that tomorrow evening at 8 p.m, myself and One Angry Pagan with another Eco Flake show. So if you can join us for that as well, it'd be greatly appreciated. But on your way out, if you head over to Max's live stream, which will be starting in a few minutes, if you can, before you go, hit the like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't already, help me get to 2,500 subscribers. Also, do check out more content on the homepage, as well as Rumble and Patreon. There's exclusive content on those platforms, which is free to watch. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.